Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I am your teacher Dr. Khurram Shahzad, and this is our 7th lecture, and I am going to talk about our previous topic, that was discourse, ideology and its use in newspapers. Though I am trying to give you some examples from the media as well. I'll try that in this lecture we may discuss something related to social media too. But let me read some of the paragraph from Brian Poltridge book so that you can have better understanding. One aspect that might be considered in this kind of analysis is the framing of the text. Now we have talked about that in critical discourse analysis we can apply Fairclough's model, also called 3D model, where at first level we look at the linguistic items, the language properties, okay, that how language is being used, and then what kind of meanings it is producing. At meso level, second level, we look at the relationship of the author with the reader, relationship of the author with the text, relationship of the text with the reader, from what perspective that particular text is produced, why it is produced, what it is foregrounding, what it is backgrounding, what it is showing you clearly and what it is hiding. Okay, so when we analyze, we are basically giving the explanation of the whole phenomena, and it is called meso level analysis. Then the third level was macro level analysis, and we have already talked about this too. But here the another concept which is presented to us is that of framing. That is how the content of the text is presented. The whole content, okay, of the text is presented with a particular perspective in a particular genre. So how the content of the text is presented and the sort of angle or perspective the writer or speaker is taking. So when you try to understand the kind of perspective, the kind of worldview that the author or the speaker has taken in order to construct that text, in order to construct that discourse, in order to produce that discourse, when as an analyst you try to understand this, it means you are doing framing. Closely related to framing is the notion of foregrounding. I have already told you that we will have to see in all kinds of sentences that what kind of idea is coming at the beginning of the sentence. Remember, framing is different from the subject of the sentence. In traditional grammar you have talked about subject, and usually subject comes at the beginning, but sometimes we say on Monday, on Tuesday, in the ground, so in the library, in the classroom. Such type of phrases, they are not the subject of the sentence, but we will say the author, the writer is foregrounding such type of things in the sentence. It means there is something specific, there is something particular in the library, there is something important in the classroom, there is something very important that the author wants to talk about. That is why the author is highlighting. And this critical discourse analysis, it comes from functional linguistics. It comes from Halliday's grammar of functional linguistics. So in Halliday's grammar, there is an idea of foregrounding. There is an idea of anything which is coming in the beginning of the sentence, that is the topic of the sentence, that is the subject of the sentence. It means that is the thing which is important to the author. That is why he or she is foregrounding it. Plus, along with this, the idea of foregrounding, the central idea that the author is talking about throughout the discourse that he or she is producing, that he or she is constructing, will also be called foregrounding. That is what concepts and issues are emphasized. So the other idea, other than the sentence, when the author particularly talks about one issue, it means that he is focusing, he is concentrating on that particular issue. He is emphasizing that particular issue. So that issue will be highlighted, that issue will be foregrounded. As well as what concepts or issues are being played down or backgrounded in the text, in the discourse. So when we look at the media, when we look at the social media, when we look at advertisement, they always foreground some item, and the other elements in the advertisement, other things in the advertisements, they are helping to project that particular idea which the author is focusing on. Let's say if the advertisement is related to car, so car will be highlighted, the model of the car will be highlighted, and all the other things, they will help to foreground car. Sorry. For example, if mobiles, in mobiles advertisement, mobile will be highlighted, and the other characteristics or attributes which will be told to you about the mobile, the characteristics which will be told to you about that particular mobile, they all will help, the kind of coloring, the characters which are taking part in that advertisement, and the layout of that advertisement, and the content, they all will be focusing on that particular mobile. The characteristics of mobile, the importance of mobile, the significance of mobile, that this mobile is going to play in your life. So we will see that how that content is highlighted, is foregrounding that particular subject that the author wants to share, convey, represent to you. The following scene from the movie Sex and the City is an example of this. So here again, in fact, the idea of, getting married is being talked about. The same, extract that we have already talked about, that you are getting engaged, and the, friends, they are not happy on her engagement because they think that it is too early to get engaged with a person. You don't know that person for a long time. So that idea is being highlighted. That why do you want to get engaged so soon? You need to spend more time with that person. So there will be a talk, okay, and look that what kind of ideology is being propagated here. That you can make relationship and you can keep on going, and there is no need to get married. Stay with that person as long as you can. And recently, we had some women, freedom and such type of, things in our country, and people were again attaching such type of things or ideologies with that particular movement. So we need to understand from all perspectives that whether it is like that what the people are saying or not. Or are they just stigmatizing the whole, phenomenon? So ideologies are propagated. A key cultural value is foregrounded in this conversation. If a man asks a woman to marry him, she should just say yes. Other values are backgrounded or rather omitted, such as Carrie's views on Aidan's occupation, ethnic background and social class, possibly because the audience of the show already knows this, not because in this case they are not relevant. When text is produced, discourse is produced, there are certain presuppositions. We always presuppose. When I talk with somebody, I know who this person is, what is my relationship with this person, what he believes in, where he is living, where he is from, what he can believe in, what he can like or dislike, what kind of ideology he can subscribe to. So we have knowledge about the people. When we are interacting with them, we presuppose so many things, and keeping these things in mind, we talk, we interact, and we share certain things with that person. Otherwise we won't share if we think that this person is going to mind, or he is not the kind of person who will say yes to whatever you are saying, or who will agree with you whatever you are saying. So usually we do not talk, we do not share, we do not talk about that issue with this person. A presupposition present in this conversation is that Aidan will formally propose to Carrie, which he later does. A further presupposition is that Aidan will ask her this directly, and that she should give a direct response. This is very much an English culture based assumption, of course, because text is coming from the particular movie. So English culture is being talked about. We know about our culture. We know here how things are done, how different kinds of speech acts are performed. For example, in pragmatics we have already read, for example, if you want to invite somebody on a marriage ceremony, how are you going to do this thing? How this speech act will be performed? Your verbal and non-verbal behavior. You need to have, an invitation card. And if you send a message to your auntie, your aunt, she may not accept this. Poopo, she will say, "Lo, why should I come to his marriage? Who the hell does he think he or she is? Sending me a text message to attend his or her marriage ceremony?" So people usually, in Pakistan do not accept this. They want a formal written invitation card. Then your parents should go and invite them. Then they should have the same feelings that the other person should feel, that yes, they are being invited. So when all these things are put together, a speech act will be performed. Otherwise, speech act cannot be performed. So your feelings and emotions, your verbal and non-verbal behavior, all these things will play an important role. For example, Saville discusses marriage proposals in Japanese, showing that in Japanese a marriage proposal is not always directly stated, and if it is not always directly responded to. An example of this, Brian Poultry discusses on page number 31. You can read it. Now I should come back to newspapers and talk about that how newspaper structures ideology, discourse. Again, they know who is the reader, who is the primary reader, who is the secondary reader. So newspaper in Pakistan, let's say Dawn, is being published for the Pakistanis first of all. So Pakistanis are the primary readers. They know what the Pakistanis believe in, what they like to eat, what they like to wear, what they want to do, what they do not want to do, what they want to hear, what they want to read, and how that news item is to be, presented to them, that they will accept it, that their mind is going to accept that discourse. So when we know about our audience, accordingly we produce our discourse, and that discourse is going to affect the people. And sometimes our relationships affect the discourse too. Yes, if somebody is very polite with you, so you know that you should also be polite with that person. So your discourse is being affected by the relationship that these two people, that this person has created with you. Different factors shape the structure of newspaper and its impact on the news discourse. Discourse is a language used relative to social, political, and cultural formation. So news item which is being presented, while it is being presented to you, they know it very well that who is the audience and how that news item should be written, should be presented as a news item in the newspaper. How audience is going to be affected when it will be presented to them. What kind of coloring you are going to add. What kind of lead-in you are going to make. What kind of supporting ideas you are going to give. So then news item will be presented to the audience, keeping in mind the social formation of the society. What the society likes, what the society does not like, what is their ideology, what they are going to hear, what would they love to hear, what they are going to believe in, what they are not going to believe. They are going to show resistance. And there are always, discourses of resistance as well. So, opposition. Some people will give discourses in resistance. Discourse is a language used relative to social, political, and cultural formation. It is language reflecting social order, but also language shaping social order. Language is produced, discourse is produced, keeping in mind the social order of the audience, but at the same time, it is shaping the social order. If it is so effective, if it is so convincing, it will bring about changes in the social order. Though changes are slow and they are imperceptible quite often. And then imperceptibly, changes, they penetrate into the society and we all change ourselves. Look at the media now, how newscasters, they read news, and if you just go back 10 or 20 years back, if you watch PTV news, how newscaster, she was, reading news, and now how newscaster, she reads news. So changes have come in the society. Changes have come in the society due to the discourse, due to the ideology. Ideology is also not stagnant. It is also flexible. It also keeps on changing. It changes when there are changes at bigger levels in the society. When the power structures changes. When the power structures change, they bring change in the discourse, and that discourse changes the mindset, practices, social practices of the people. It constitutes introduces newer social practices in the society. And these social practices are being introduced in such a way that people don't mind, that people don't feel. Directly or indirectly, they are being inculcated in us. And we follow those social practices and we feel happy about them. And those who do not follow, we say they are conservative. They cannot walk along with us in the modern world. And look at the words, how they are being used. Modern world and conservative. Nobody would love to, be attached with the word like conservative. Everybody wants to become modern because we are living in the modern world. We would love to say that we are enlightened. And if somebody is illiterate, we will say he is illiterate, and that word, it attaches, it has got negative connotations. It attaches stigma to the person when you say that he is illiterate, that he cannot walk along with us in this modern world, he is conservative. So the words, they are so powerful, and these words, they carry ideology. And this is how ideologies, they are, produced in the society, reproduced in the society, enacted in the society, perpetuated in the society. No doubt, along with this perpetuation of typical ideologies, there are always ideologies of resistance, discourses of resistance. They are there to counter them. But sometimes they are successful, sometimes they are not successful. And in Pakistan, add Islam to anything and people will become very furious. And people will change the whole thing, whole phenomena, as if somebody has, attacked Islam. They are so conscious, they are so emotional about this word Islam. So we need to be careful. And of course, when discourses are produced and disseminated in the society, people take care of the culture, people take care of the values, people know what they would like to adhere to, what they would like not to adhere to, what they would like to listen to, what they would not like to listen to, what they would like to like and what they would not like to like. Keeping all these things in mind, discourses are produced, disseminated, made truthful in the society. And platforms like newspapers, media, social media, all these things help promote such type of ideologies. So dear students, there are so many other things that we can still talk about, but let me repeat again. Threadgold has said texts are never ideologically free. They are never ideology free, nor are they objective. People are taught right and wrong by their religion right from the beginning. Religion plays a very important role. Religion will tell you what is right and what is wrong. And something which is right in Pakistan, it may be wrong in America, and something which is right in America may be wrong in Pakistan. Even people, they change their interpretations. Here the interpretation of Islam is different. In Canada, the interpretation of Islam is different. So we need to be careful. The various stories and writing styles of writers clearly reflect the impact that they have on religion. So any religion, all the religions, all the people, they like their religion very much. Christians like Christianity, Jews like Judaism, we like Islam, yes. So we should be careful when we are talking about religion too. And our media, social media, the people who are producing content on them, they do take care of religion, culture, society, the mindset of the society, and then they create such type of content, in their discourses. So thank you very much. Let me summarize. Today we have talked about ideology. Today we have talked about discourse. Discourse can be written, can be spoken, can be e-discourse. And we have talked about Threadgold, who says that all discourses, they are never ideology free, nor can they be objective. Our subjectivity, our own ideas, feelings and emotions, thinking, living style, each and everything is involved when we are producing discourse. And we always adhere to the power structures which exist in the society. And these power structures help strengthen the kinds of discourses we adhere to, help reproduce the kinds of discourses that we would like to hear, that we would like to disseminate in the society. And we have also analyzed the role of newspapers and media in the propagation of ideology through discourse. Thank you very much.